Hello, welcome to the Sigma Made Simple channel. This channel is dedicated to explaining the principles of Lean Sigma and Six Sigma to anyone with little or no knowledge but wish to make improvements to a measurable process. My name is Dennis Wells, and I was learning about these tools even before I was certified in 2008 as a Six Sigma Black Belt and a Lean Sigma Green Belt in 2009. I have acted as a Master Black Belt where I mentored many engineers for their Green Belt and Black Belt certifications in both Six Sigma and Lean Sigma. I've trained personnel, I've mentored interns, and I've trained managers on these tools. Even in semi-retirement, I continue teaching and learning as I believe in their power when applied properly. That is what I hope to show you on this channel. Lean Sigma is a toolbox that eliminates waste Six Sigma may not cover. So in this video, we're going to go through and review the tools used in Lean Sigma to reduce waste. The tools in Lean Sigma include, but are not limited to, the following: a VSM, or value stream map, which shows the life of your product on one piece of paper. OEE and OCE are scores showing the effectiveness of your equipment or work cells. 5S is keeping an organized and clean work area. Ergonomic assessments. There are a couple links in the description, but you should do some research for the best fit of your organization. But the important thing to know here is that ergonomic assessments deal with long-term and short-term injuries to employees, which is another kind of waste. It goes hand in hand with 5S. Even if you don't do 5S, you should probably do some form of an ergonomic assessment. If you want to talk more about the ergonomic assessments or any of these tools, just email me at sigmamadesimple@gmail.com. The email's at the bottom of the page here. So Yoke. Yoke is a method to ensure that the design or process has only one way of fitting together or being assembled so that you eliminate any errors. 5 Whys. Um, 5 Whys is used to find the root cause and what you can do to change it. A spaghetti diagram is how your materials flow from the vendor to the customer or inside your building. Just-in-time manufacturing is a method where materials are ready for use when needed and only when needed. It usually applies to your supply chain, but it can apply in other areas as well. Six Sigma uses statistical tools to look for relationships between key process input variables and key process output variables. Input variables might be like your materials, the equipment that you use, the process that you use. Output variables are things like your spec, your specification for them. We're not going to go in a lot of detail in this video on these items. We are going to go through them in a little bit more detail, but there are going to be videos in the future explaining in great detail not only what they can do for you, but how to use them. So the VSM, or value stream map, is the most powerful Lean Sigma tool. It will clarify the perfect process, perfect movement, and perfect inventory. Anyone can use a value stream map, and it can improve the output in a matter of days. It does this by visualizing on one sheet of paper what the life of your product is, where it spends its time, what happens to it from the point it leaves your vendor to the point where your end user pays for the order. Any process can benefit from a value stream map. Office processes to create a quote, request a quote, qualify equipment, any process where the product of the process goes through many hands or many workstations can benefit from a VSM. And indeed, even a single workstation can benefit from a VSM. Manufacturing probably benefits the most, usually from the point where the job is released to where the last product is completed to fill an order. I usually start with a value stream map to understand and find the first 3 bottlenecks and identify Six Sigma projects that will have the most impact. VSM targets underutilized talent by including personnel who may not normally be included in a continuous improvement process. Defects in processes, equipment, or products are identified and the impact is understood. The waste of waiting is uncovered. Um, the waste of motion is better understood and perfected. Transportation is better understood and improved. Overproduction and overprocessing are uncovered, often bringing to light a hidden factory. Inventory is better controlled via a Kanban and other methods like maybe a supermarket. Those are other tools that will become useful when we do our value stream map, our future state value stream map. We will spend a lot of time in the next videos on the VSM since it is the most important tool that you can use. It will clarify the perfect process, perfect movement, and the perfect inventory. OEE and OCE will clarify where you are in the perfect process and perfect movement. Now, these are two different tools actually, and OEE stands for overall equipment effectiveness. And you use OEE when the equipment is a gating item, like an injection molding machine. It's different than efficiency. OEE is as it takes into account availability, performance, and quality, not just efficiency. So we will go into more detail on this later. Um, OCE stands for overall cell effectiveness, and you use OCE when the operator is the gating item. For instance, like a carpenter who uses many tools. Um, OCE is also a more accurate measure of your capability or your effectiveness as it takes into account availability, performance, and quality, which when you build a value stream map, you should have the value stream map should automatically calculate OCE or OEE for you. We're going to go into more detail in a later video, so we're not going to spend much more time on this. 5S is going to clarify the perfect movement. Unnecessary movement and waiting are targeted with 5S. Operators have what they need when they need it, and nothing unneeded is cluttering the workstation or area. 5S eliminates looking for tools, equipment, materials, and product. It keeps the work areas clean, so unnecessary items are not getting in the way. 5S should include an ergonomic assessment as you're setting up the workstations. A later video will explain in more detail. Ergonomic assessments. Ergonomic assessments are a key part of 5S, like I said earlier. With the help of personnel that use the workstation, we're going to be addressing underutilized talent. Waiting, motion, and transportation are reviewed to better understand, to be better understood and be safer. So even if you do not use 5S, you should review ergonomic assessments to ensure the safety of your personnel. It's just going to help you in the long term and the short term to avoid injuries. So it's going to help you identify unsafe and unnecessary movements. Ergonomic assessments reduce the probability of the operator being hurt in both the short term and long term. So remember, workplace injuries are not only expensive, but they're easy to avoid. What may seem like a pretty easy task may actually injure a person over a long period. There's a few links in the description. Do some research, find what method works best for you. If you have questions, email me at sigmamadesimple@gmail.com. Yoke targets defects by designing the product so it can only be assembled in one way. This reduces defects and thus errors in manufacturing. It does target defects. 5 whys. 5 whys defects are targeted. 5 whys help you find the root cause for the defects. It clarifies the perfect process. It helps you find a solution that you can control and implement yourself. Sometimes when you're going through the 5 whys, you will have something that you cannot control. But the whole point of the 5 whys is to find the simplest solution to the root cause that you can control. A spaghetti diagram. A spaghetti diagram will clarify the perfect movement. Things like weighting, motion, and transportation waste are targeted by showing you how the product travels to, through, and from your facility, mostly within your facility. That's what you have the most control over. It's going to show you how far your product travels and how you can minimize that travel waste. Just-in-time manufacturing. It's going to clarify the perfect inventory. Overproduction, overprocessing, and inventory waste are targeted. Materials and product are only available and built when an order is in place. This takes the cue from 5S, where only what you need is available when needed and nothing else. Just in time reduces your final product inventory. Just in time reduces the materials needed for building products as they stay in the most flexible state. If designs change, you're not going to be stuck with inventory. So if this has ever happened to you where you've built up inventory anticipating a sell and then something, an industry standard has changed or new designs come out, then you're not going to get stuck with that inventory and have to write it off. Six Sigma. I consider Six Sigma to be a tool within the Lean Sigma toolbox. Lean Sigma shows you where you can use Six Sigma for the biggest impact, and it will also define the goals for a successful Six Sigma project. Six Sigma uses statistical tools to improve processes incrementally or as a breakthrough improvement. Incremental improvement being modifications to the current process, and breakthrough being a totally different and better way of completing the same task or the same process. Will be a couple of actual projects, a couple of videos of actual projects using Six Sigma in the Six Sigma video series. That's coming up after the Lean Sigma video series. So here's a matrix showing what tools impact what wastes. Note that the VSM can affect the most wastes with a score of 8. Scores are at the bottom. You get OEE and OCE when you do a VSM, so that makes the VSM even more powerful. 5S is the next most powerful tool, even though it affects 2 areas. It also incorporates ergonomic assessments, which means 5S and ergonomic assessments together impact 4 wastes. The other tools are powerful as well, but they target a smaller set of wastes. Now, that's not to say that the other tools are not powerful, okay? Like I said, they certainly have the ability to impact their wastes greatly and should not ever be discounted, but they should be brought in when the value stream map says that we need something to address these items. The VSM is going to indicate when these other tools are needed, and if done correctly, the VSM will be able to predict the impact when you do implement them. So you probably figured out that the VSM is the tool for your pursuit of perfection. It is the main tool that I use. One more comment here. People might argue about some of these X's that are on the screen and what the scores are, what they can affect or can't affect, and that's fine. It's a little bit nebulous in some ways. The whole point of showing you this matrix is to show you that the VSM has the potential to affect the majority of it, and 5S and ergonomics together can affect more areas, and then the other tools have somewhat limited effect, but in that particular area like Yoke, you can eliminate defects with Yoke. So it has a huge impact, whereas VSM might be calling up Yoke. So the next series of videos will explain the tools Lean Sigma uses to target types of waste. Keep in mind the value stream map is your best friend. in your pursuit of perfection. If you found this video useful, like it, subscribe to the channel, and share it with anyone else who may find it useful. If you didn't find this video useful, then subscribe in the hope that an upcoming video will be useful. Eventually, we'll go through projects using the Lean Sigma, Six Sigma tools, as well as other tools needed to support them. Remember, managers maintain, leaders make change. Your VSM is going to help you decide what you need to be. Do you need to be a manager or do you need to be a leader? I'll see you in the next video.